Okay, obviously Caribe Devine from 12 News in Phoenix, and we are live here in El Paso, Texas. We are standing just outside of the Walmart where this horrific shooting took place over the weekend on Saturday. And just in front of the Walmart, you can see a memorial that is set up. There are 20 wooden crosses that reflect all of the 20 lives lost. We now know, of course, that two more people have died. And so the man that put up the crosses says that he will have to make two more. But you can see a huge crowd over there. People from the community have just been coming and going. It's been a steady stream of people bringing flowers and just offering their condolences and just being together with everyone as they grieve and they mourn for this city, which, by the way, is the city that I grew up in. Obviously, I've lived in Phoenix, Arizona for about 15 years now, but I do call El Paso my home.
And can you give a little bit of your time here and what you've experienced living in this community?
Yeah, so I moved here with my family when I was about 12 years old. And it's such a unique city, El Paso, because it literally sits on the US Mexico border. In fact, you can see it just beyond the Walmart there. It's within miles. And so growing up, I spent time with my family going across the border to Juarez, Mexico, which is where my grandparents lived. And so a lot of people here have that very same experience. It's really hard to find anyone from El Paso that doesn't have a family member that lives over in Juarez. And so people are constantly going back and forth. There are people from El Paso who work in Juarez, and then vice versa, people in Juarez who work in El Paso. So the communities are definitely culturally intertwined, and certainly economically intertwined, and just a very welcoming city. There's also Fort Bliss, which has about a population of about 9,000 soldiers there. And so El Paso prides itself on being a community that accepts all of the people from around the world that come here from Fort Bliss. And of course, from New Mexico, there's a border, we border with that, and of course, Mexico. So a city with kind people, hardworking people, family values are huge here. And so, again, just a really warm city. All my family is here.
And can you tell us about some of the people who we've talked to today and what they've been telling you about their experiences as well?
Well, their experiences, some of the people that we've spoken to today, are really saying some of the same things that I'm telling you about this city, and just how kind people are here, how welcoming they are. And so for something this tragic to happen, for someone to come outside, from of the city and target, in this case, we know Hispanic people specifically, they're heartbroken. They cannot believe that a tragedy that we see happen all over the country, that it could come to this city, and especially knowing the reasons, the motives behind this suspect and why he came here to do this. It's even more heartbreaking, I think, for a lot of the people here. The community, by the way, is 80% Hispanic. So it's a predominantly Hispanic population.
And can you tell people what you want them to know about El Paso and how this community has changed your life?
Well, I mean, like I said, I grew up here. I went to elementary school here. I went to high school. I went to college here. In fact, this very area where we are right now is where I used to live. My mother worked at the building that is about 100 yards away from us. The mall that all of the kids go to, all of the teenagers go to, is, just next to the Walmart. I was baptized in a church that was 2 blocks from here, and I even lived in some apartments that were literally they butt against the wall where the mall is and where Walmart is. So this is an area that I spent a lot of time in, was very comfortable here. When all of this happened on Saturday, I started getting messages on my phone about what had happened in El Paso. And immediately I was like, where is my family? Like, where are my parents? So I'm getting on my phone, I'm calling them. Neither one of them are answering. I'm texting. It was a very frantic half an hour that felt more like it was 10 hours, just waiting to hear back from my parents and my sisters and my cousins and my aunts and uncles and my friends, everyone just frantically checking in. Because again, this is an area, it's like the city hub. You've got two malls that are here, Walmart, a Sam's, just everything is here. This is the place where on a weekend, people who are going out to eat and going shopping would come. So to hear that something like that was happening, for every single person in the city, it was terrifying.
And can you describe the memorial that we've seen today with all the crosses and all the names and all the flowers?
Yeah, there's a gentleman from Chicago that sadly, this is what he does. He goes to all of the mass shootings. He's a carpenter. He makes these crosses to honor the victims. It's just kind of sad to me that there's someone who, he's been so busy because there have been so many shootings. And so he's here, but it was a beautiful thing that he did. He made 20 crosses with the names of some of the victims. Obviously, some of the names haven't come out or hadn't come out when he made the crosses. And people are just coming. They're writing, messages on the crosses, giving their condolences. They're putting flowers. There's teddy bears. There's signs. El Paso strong. We are with you. Just words of encouragement. And again, just showing the strength of the city coming together to deal with this grief and start to heal.
And can you tell us about any interviews that we have coming up?
Yes, we are going to be. We talked to the gentleman with the crosses who came from Chicago. We spoke with just some people that came out to pay their respects and pay their condolences. A little bit later on, we're going to be talking to Cesar Blanco. He is a Texas state representative. We'll be talking to him. He also grew up in this community. In fact, he went to the elementary school where, families were waiting on word for their loved ones on Saturday. So this has touched him personally. And then coming up a little bit later on in our evening shows, we'll talk to Democratic presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke. Again, he used to represent the El Paso district in the U.S. House, and obviously, he's running for president. He is born and raised here, so we'll be talking to him on just how this has impacted him and how this community is dealing with this.
And whose story have you heard that has stuck with you the most so far?
Oh my gosh, well, I just learned that the youngest victim was a 15-year-old high school student who was about to go into the 10th grade from Horizon High School. They're going to be having a memorial there for him. It's devastating to think that he was probably there on Saturday doing school shopping, just like how a lot of people were, never knowing that it was going to be his last day, and certainly in the way that it happened. So that has stood out to me. And then obviously the mother who shielded her 2-month-old baby. The baby was injured but is okay, but unfortunately the mother passed away, and so did the father, a very young couple with a young family. And the list goes on. You can relate to every single victim, and in my case, I sit there and I say that could have been any one of my family members.
And what do you want people to remember most about El Paso in the wake of this tragedy?
That it's a great city. It's a great city with loving and caring people. And as you can see, they're all here showing that right now. They will stay strong. They'll stay strong and hopefully just get through this. But the process is going to be difficult. There's a lot of lives that have been shattered by this. So again, we want to thank you guys for joining us on this Facebook Live. I will be on the air live in Phoenix coming up at 4 o'clock, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. And we'll be bringing you more stories and just more of this outpouring of love and support after this horrific shooting that happened over the weekend here in El Paso, Texas. So we will see you on the air.